coming to you with what I hope to be the first in a series of videos discussing the use of musical instruments in shamanic ritual. Now, most people, when they think of shamans and musical instruments, the first thing that comes to mind is something like this. A frame drum can be large or small, played with a beater or with the hand. And secondly, perhaps maybe a rattle of some sort. But did you know that drums and rattles are used primarily for the benefit of the attendees of the ritual, usually a group ritual, where there are other instruments that are used more specifically as a tool for the shaman to do their job. The drums and rattles, they help to synchronize the breathing and heartbeats of the people listening to them. So shamans will use these in group rituals to kind of get everybody in sync so that they can then align their own energies with theirs and perform their shamanic duties. Well, there are a number of other instruments that are used either for meditation or for helping the shaman on their journey between worlds, which is, of course, how they do most of their job. And one of those instruments you've probably heard before, but never really thought of as much more than a novelty, and that is what's commonly known as a Jew's harp. Now, the earliest known recorded word in English for this type of instrument is a trump. That goes back, I think, to around the Middle Ages, and that was generally used to refer to a metal-framed instrument, but they could also be made of wood, bamboo, horn, bone, etc. And these instruments can be found all throughout the world under many different names. In German, the name translates to mouth drum. In Italian, it translates to thought dispeller. Among the Turkic peoples of Asia, Russia, we're talking Altaians, Tuvans, and the Yakut, I believe. They're called hummus. Not like hummus, but hummus. I think I'm saying that right. I'm sorry if I'm butchering the pronunciation. Anyway, these instruments were actually banned in Soviet Russia because of their association with shamanism. But they are also found in Japan among the indigenous Ainu. They're found in China, which I have an example of one of the Chinese versions, called a Kaoxian. And these usually come in a set like this. They're made of brass. But you can also make them out of an old shopper's card. So this is one that I've made. And you play it by putting it up against your lips. The metal-framed, more commonly known, Jew's harps, are played pressed up against or between the teeth. And then some of them are played against the lips like these two that I'm about to show you. Now, oddly enough, though they're found all throughout the world, a couple more names. The Norwegians call them munaharpa. The Hungarians call them darom. In Russian, they are called vargan. But I believe that the vargan and the hummus are possibly a little bit different. Anyway, they're definitely associated with different peoples, but as far as the form of the instrument, I'm not entirely certain on that. Anyway, so the ones that are made out of wood, bamboo, plastic, or whatever, they have more of a sort of percussive sound, like this. Where the metal ones tend to resonate more and have better sustain. And they're much louder. Now, how are these used in shamanic ritual? Well, among the Yakut, the sound of the instrument is, they're an animistic people, by the way. They, a lot of their beliefs and everything have to do with the land and the animals and everything around them and their connection with all of that. It's all very intertwined. And they're also, as you may know, if you know anything about Mongolians or Tuvans or any of those groups of peoples, they're a very strong horse culture. And so this sound you can probably already guess that it kind of puts you in mind of the clomping of a horse's hooves. And that's what they associated it with, is like a sort of spirit horse that carries the shaman between worlds. It's the longer sustain instruments for meditation. So that helps you to sort of get into more of a relaxed shamanic state of mind, whereas the faster rhythms kind of bring us more out of ourselves and into the ethers, so to speak. So those are the ways that we would use those types of instruments. And of course you can use any of the different types. The Indonesians, I was watching some videos recently about their bamboo instruments. Indonesia and Java, I believe, they both have very similar types of instruments, and in some cultures they've also been used as part of courtship rituals, I found. But anyway, as it specifically applies to shamanism, it's either used as a meditation tool to help the shaman shift their state of consciousness, or as a vessel or a vehicle for carrying the spirit between worlds, or helping them to connect with the patient if they're working one-on-one with an individual, as we often do. So those are some of the ways that these instruments, this variety of instruments really, can be used. And of course, you don't have to limit yourself to one specific form of the instrument. You could use the modern Jew's harp. Ironically enough, of all the cultures that it's associated with, it's not actually been found to have anything to do with the Jewish people. They're found, throughout Asia into Europe, but it seems that once you get down into the Middle East and Africa, they're relatively unknown, or at least I haven't found any historical record of them or archaeological record. But it's still pretty interesting. They have found what they believe to be evidence of them in like Roman reliefs and stuff. But the Romans went everywhere, so there's no telling where they encountered it. Probably among the Turks. But in any case, you can use any of the different styles of instruments, and I wish I had more of them to show you. In Vietnam, they call them Dan Moi, and they're similar to the Chinese Kaoxian, but it's a single piece instead of several different ones, and it's longer. It's considerably longer, but it's a similar kind of leaf shape to that. The Javanese and Indonesia ones, they are more rectangular, and then the tongue part too. You can see on these they're sort of little triangles, where in those they tend to be sort of more rectangular, and it'll be like a wide rectangle that tapers down into a small rectangle, and that's the part that acts as the reed. But you can use any of these in the same way. They all make a very similar sound. Some of them have multiple reeds, but all of them will work for your intended purpose, at least in my experience. So, you know, try them out, make a few of your own, and see what works best for you. There are plenty of tutorials for how to actually play them and different kinds of sounds you can do with them. A lot of people play, even I like to play, sort of like acoustic techno with them because it lends itself very well to that. But, you know, today we're just specifically talking about their application in shamanism. Maybe eventually I'll make some just for entertainment purposes to, you know, show you what these instruments can do. But I've gone well over the amount of time that I wanted to go into with this anyway. So I hope this was informative. And if you like this content, please remember to like, subscribe, share. Let me know what kind of instruments you would like to see me play. Maybe I can get a hold of them. Maybe I have them already. Or maybe we could do a sort of GoFundMe thing where, you know, everybody pitches in so I can purchase some of these instruments to play for you. But I do have a few more things here that I have used in my personal practice for years, and I can dig out a couple more of those and do a few more of these types of videos if you like them. So again, remember, like, comment, subscribe, share. Let me know your experiences with these kinds of instruments. You know, what you think of them, what you think of their sound. Try using them if you practice any form of shamanism or other type of spirituality. Try using them in your ritual and your work, and tell me the effects that they've had for you. It would be interesting to sort of make this a community project and see what we all think of them.